Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and we're going to go ahead and dive into news and week in review. But first and foremost, starting off with the most important thing, which is giveaways, and there's just one giveaway. There's not multiple giveaways. There could be multiple giveaways. What else should I give away? I don't have anything right now. But there are, actually, no, I do have something coming up. Ooh, there's going to be a giveaway like next week or something. We'll talk about it. In any case, let's go ahead and dive into it. The giveaway this week is for the fact that we crossed 49,000 subscribers. Thank you very much, all of you. I appreciate it very much. If you haven't been following, I've been doing a giveaway every 500 subscribers until we hit 50,000, which means there's 2 more to go at 49.5 and 50,000, which means it's not too late to... Oh, I sound so... What is wrong with me? I'm too excited today. I'm too excited. Anyways, point is, 2 things. 1, the giveaway for this particular entry or whatnot is Iron Duck 789. And once again, that's Iron Duck 789. Please reach out to me at alex@boardgameco.com. This is your typical reminder. Do not respond to anyone in the comments who is promising you that you won. Although, I will say, I haven't seen any fake Telegram spammy giveaway stuff recently, so maybe YouTube's been cracking down on it. Point is, don't give anyone money that you shouldn't. Only communicate with me at alex@boardgameco.com. That's the only way you should, well, not only, I mean, I can just engage in whatever way you want, but in terms of giveaways and any possible things about money. Anyways, Iron Duck 789, you won. What did you win? You won one of the remaining Lacerda picks. I say remaining Lacerda picks because I don't remember everything that's left or gone or all that stuff, but check with me and I'll let you know the 3 that are left for you to go. There are 2 more after this to go, and if you want to enter the giveaway, please make sure I'll include a link to the video down below, but effectively, you can still go to the video titled 6 Lacerdas and Hoplomachus. Hoplomachus is gone too, by the way. I haven't shipped it yet. I have like 6 things I need to ship. I need to get on top of that. But anyways, point is that if you want to win a Lacerda, there are still 2 more left to go. Well, 3 more right now, but soon to be 2 more left. And make sure to enter that video. Just leave a comment on that 6 Lacerdas and a Hoplomachus Victorium video. A very specific and oddly named title for a video. Now that we spent 2 minutes of your life on this giveaway, or you can just skip to the timestamps, let's go ahead and dive into the week in review, starting off with... Well, actually, now I feel not as bad as wasting 2 minutes of your life, because now we're about to talk about 6 Siege, the board game. 6 Siege, the board game over here. This is basically going over 6 Siege and the news and week in review. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. News and week in review, we're diving into the various news pieces, starting off with 6 Siege. 6 Siege is asking you for $250 or less, but up to $250 to get your copy of the game. As many of you are aware, that's not fun, like really not fun. And so I did a full video on it this week. You can check that out if you want the full information, but effectively, Mythic Games seems to be in severe financial trouble, and if you want to get the things you already paid for, you'll have to pay more money to get the things you already paid for. Not the best situation in the slightest. It's really not good. Like, it's really, really not good. And I got one person in my comment of the video. I did a video this week on it. I had one person who said, like, this is the closest you've ever come to, like, condemning a company. So first of all, one, I absolutely condemn Mythic in this conversation. It's not even a question. Although I'm not necessarily condemning their motive, because I can't speak to that. I'm condemning their whatever decisions have brought them to this point. Whether it's a lack of running a company well, whether it's malice, I don't know. I'm always more mindful about questioning motive. There's an old saying, never attribute to malice that which can be attributed to stupidity. Never assume ill intent when you can just assume stupidity. There's more stupidity in this world than there is mismanagement. I'm not calling the team at Mythic stupid. It's hard to run a company. Trust me, it is hard to run a company. But whether it's hard or not, there are issues here. And as far as mismanagement, oh my gosh, this is not the rabbit hole I was going to go down. One of the things that's constantly brought up, which I get, it's a constantly brought up issue, and it's usually brought up when you're like, hey Alex, you defend companies and all that, you take the company side. So first of all, I don't take the company side, I see both sides, different conversation. It's not that I see only the company side, it's that as opposed to a lot of consumers when they're frustrated, only see the consumer side. I understand and agree with nearly every single degree of frustration that has ever been brought up in any conversation around any company you're upset about. It's very rare, not never, but it's rare that I don't see the customer side. Rather, I also see the company side. I understand what the customer wants and why, and I understand why it's not always so easy for the company to do so, even if it's not coming from a place of malice. That said, one of the issues that is brought up fairly in situations like this is, well, they should have communicated the issues to the backers. They should have communicated those issues. And a defense I've brought up again, and I've brought this up in the past with other companies, and it's the same thing. It's not that the defense I'm about to bring up is not me saying I agree with it. It's me saying I understand it. There's a difference between those two things. But the frequent conversation, this really should have been the topic of the week. I feel like I'm wasting the topic of the week. Maybe we'll make this the topic of the week. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Let's make this the topic of the week. Now, the first news piece is the topic of the week. Okay, great. It's happening. Fine. So, the frequent defense that is not great that I bring up is if you are a company, let's just give you a hypothetical. If you're a company right now and you're going through a degree of financial issues, and if you run this next crowdfunding campaign, that will resolve the issues and it will bring you to a point of, and again, let's ignore this, let's not pretend this is about Mythic right now. Let's pretend this is just hypothetical, and then we'll bring it to Mythic. But if you're a company that's going through issues, and if you run that next Kickstarter, you can solve your issues and bring your company to a point that you can make everything good. Okay? That's a hypothetical on the table. Now you have a few options. You can communicate to all your backers all the issues that are currently going on, and all but guarantee that people will not fund this next crowdfunding campaign, thus guaranteeing your failure, and thus guaranteeing you cannot make all the people who you would otherwise let down happy. Meaning you have a potential savings grace on the table, but if you're clear and communicative about that, you will instill panic, and therefore you will ensure a failure, or you could not be clear and communicative, and if things go well, you can actually avoid failure. That's the hypothetical on the table. It's a hypothetical companies have to deal with on a regular basis. How much transparency is owed, how much transparency is beneficial, how much not being fully transparent can potentially be the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people. And a fair question on that is, well, you're not giving me the agency to decide. As the consumer, why don't I get to decide? And the answer is because if you got to decide, you'd not back, understandably, and the whole thing would guarantee its failure. This is the concept of toilet paper runs or bank runs or any of those situations where a mass panic can actually cause the situation you're trying to avoid. Now, again, this is not me saying that's a good answer. I am not saying that's a good answer. I'm saying that that is an answer to a problem that is messy. It is an answer to a problem that inherently involves subterfuge and deception and hiding issues. It is inherently a problematic situation, but I don't have a good answer. I can neither recommend that a company specifically and intentionally be as honest as possible if it guarantees failure and it guarantees other people being upset, nor can I possibly in good conscience recommend that they be as transparent as possible or obfuscate. Nor can I possibly recommend that they obfuscate information, because that's lying to your backers. That's you basically making a judgment call that involves your backers taking on more financial risk. So it's not in a situation like Mythic, in a situation like Holy Grail, in a situation where you have a company that sees a looming problem and they keep trying to get themselves out of that problem, but by doing so they are actually digging a deeper pit for you, for themselves, for everyone involved. In no way, ever, am I saying that obfuscating information is okay. What I am saying is sometimes obfuscating information can result in a potentially better situation than being fully transparent. And that is a horrific conversation to even have to engage in. The idea that through deception you may actually improve the situation, but I don't advocate deception. So it's rarely that I'm taking the company's side. It's that I'm saying that if you're in a situation that was similar and you had to make a similar situation and you were in those situations making the same judgment call, this is the same as any conversation where a large group of people like to villainize others along the way for anything. Whether it's as stupid as something as, your favorite sports star switching teams and selling out and betraying you. And again, same situation. What would you do in that situation? What would you do if you were offered, $30 million to switch teams? You're so easy to accuse them of whatever sort of malintent or, lack of loyalty. What would you do in that same situation? Whatever the situations are, whenever you're about to accuse others of some form of malintent, question for yourself what you would do in a similar situation. I'm not even saying if what you would do is right, but question what you would do. Do I understand the customer side? Of course I understand the customer side. Every single person, myself included, is sitting here losing out. Holy Grail was the first company, the very first time that I lost an outstanding Kickstarter. In 3 years of doing this and backing a whole lot of campaigns, the first time that I've had something guarantee failure to deliver is Rallyman Dirt. Assuming no one picks it up and delivers it. I've seen the company said they're doing something, so I may still get it by paying extra, which isn't the best, but at least I'll get it. But that was the first time. Mythic is going to be the second time. It's not fun. It's not easy. I'm just not willing to assume malintent. I'm willing to assume mismanagement from today until tomorrow, with sympathy to the company and the people involved, and greater sympathy to the backers and those people involved. Life isn't easy. It's not simple. It's not the black and white that many people want it to be. It sucks. Not life. Life's pretty awesome. I mean, we're sitting here complaining about anyone. Let's also take a second here to recognize our privilege to a degree here. Anyone involved in this conversation, absolutely anyone who in any way is upset, is also someone who sat there and said, you know what, I can spend hundreds of dollars on a single board game. Every single one of us here in this conversation is fortunate. I in no way am I trying to take away from the frustration. There is frustration. But even within the context of frustration, we are very much better off than others who aren't even eligible for the conversation of, hey, can I spend anywhere from $150 to $700 of disposable income on a single board game? Again, you can still complain. This is not me trying to in any way say you can't complain. You can complain. You should complain. And you should, I'm not even saying don't be upset at Mythic. Be upset at Mythic. By all means, be upset at Mythic. Yeah. That's today's conversation. So next week's topic of the week is going to be my rating system and how it's getting slightly harsher. That's next week's topic, not this week's topic, because this week's topic got replaced by the whole Mythic conversation. So let's go ahead and dive into the next thing. Speaking of upset backers, now that we've set the tone, now that we've done this properly, let's move on to the next conversation piece, which is Tanares Adventures. Tanares Adventures over here. Tanares Adventures, this is going to be Tanares Adventures Ultimate Edition and shipping. This is, they basically put an update over here. Sorry. They basically put an update on Tanares Adventures. They are putting out a new Tanares campaign, and everyone was so happy and excited, except for those who aren't. Now, the good news is, in context of the Mythic situation, this is not nearly as bad. But that said, there are people who are upset, while there are people who are happy, and I think it very often is a case-by-case situation, and as always, the comments are usually more negative. But Tanares put out an update that said, meaning comments appear more negative. When you have a campaign with like 7,000 backers and 50 people are upset in the comments, it looks bad, but it's also 50 out of 7,000. But either way, Ultimate Tanares Adventures over here, the basic idea is Tanares did a bunch of updates. Number one is they are putting out a new campaign. They're putting out an upgraded campaign, which for some people is like, that's cool, I like more Tanares content. And other people are like, my copy's not delivered yet. My copy's not, it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years and my copy's not delivered yet and you announced the next campaign? What in the world is wrong with you, Dragori? That's some people's response. Understandable, by the way. Totally understandable. Again, by the way, this is another good opportunity to have a conversation around customer side, company side, and the fact that I understand both. It's not me taking the company side. It is, I understand both. In this case, before we even get to the rest of the update, it's a long video. It's going to be a long week in review. I apologize. In this conversation, the very nature of running a company means you are constantly working on the next thing. That is how you pay the bills, number one. But it's also the process of development takes forever. In general, when you see something like, hey, the iPhone came out, and now a year later the next iPhone came out, Call of Duty came out, the next Call of Duty came out, the difference between that and crowdfunding is only that you are seeing the start of a process versus the end of a process at different points in time. When you have the iPhone, and then a year later you have the iPhone, it's, you know, blanket point in time. Same with Call of Duty, same with any sort of product release. In Kickstarter, the problem is you talk about the Kickstarter, a year goes by, you get the Kickstarter, but at the same time you hear about the next Kickstarter, and then a year goes by and you get the Kickstarter. The same delay timeline and product development cycle is present. The difference is it kind of seems massively condensed because of the nature of crowdfunding and you being involved in that cycle the whole way through instead of at a singular point in time of the release date. So the first thing is, board games are not that different than any other product release cycle. You're just seeing it differently because of crowdfunding. Also, in the case of Tanares, many people, I think most people, have gotten their pledges. There are still those who have not. Now, Tanares as a company, Dragori as a company, has a choice. They either stop any form of future development while resolving those issues, or they continue moving forward. This is the equivalent of when a company is selling something and they have a customer with issues, do they keep selling or do they stop the presses in order to deal with the customer with issues? The answer is they keep selling. The problem is the nature, and that's essential. You have to keep selling to run a company, while also, yes, you deal with the customer with issues. Both things are true. They're just different kind of life cycles of what's happening. The problem with crowdfunding is everything is so present. Everything is so community wrapped in and so obviously there that it makes it feel like they didn't finish their first job and they're starting on their second job. In reality, it's different things. They finished their first job, they're starting on the second job, but now there's also issues that have to be dealt with and addressed. I understand every single person who is upset that they are launching the next crowdfunding campaign before you got the last one. Also, I understand continuing to move forward with things. Now, I am very understandable. I'm very understanding of the people who are like, didn't we just wait 3 years for this product, and now you're saying it's not good enough, and we're going to improve upon it and charge you more money for it in a year from now? Like, isn't that weird? Because that's part of this update. They are acknowledging that they are going to improve some facets, and that's going to be the next Kickstarter. And now you're like, congratulations, I waited 3 years for my Arena of the Contest to be better. I finally got it, and now I can wait another year for the next one to be better. Hold your horses. Let's get to the update. So, number 1, we have an immersive audio narration with Foreteller. They've teamed up with Foreteller, and now Tanares Adventures has Foreteller. Can you start Tanares Adventures without this? Yes, you definitely can. Will you? I don't know. That's your choice. I get holding off. I get it. I barely touched Tanares. I played Tanares Adventures. I played Arena of the Contest like 3 times in the past 2 years because I was waiting for Tanares Adventures to show up. So I get holding off on games because you want the best version. There's a balance. For context, I will not be stopping playing through Tanares right now. I'm enjoying Tanares a lot, and I will be continuing to dive into it. Foreteller is a nice thing, but it's not going to make me stop anything. They also have upgraded books. Upgraded books over here, that's going to be a thing they're doing as well. Basically, they're going to have the books divided in a way that's more comprehensive, rather than many people, myself included, have complained about these sprawling rule books on the table, how many different things you're managing as you go through the game, and they are upgrading them by condensing, hey, here's week 1, here's week 2, all in their own books. I'll say a few things there. 1, I'm not even confident that will be an improvement. I think it'll be an improvement, but I'm not 100% confident. As much as I don't like these sprawling books, it might be better than flipping through the same book multiple times. I don't know for sure. Meaning, as a critic, I can complain about something that I don't like while also not necessarily knowing how to make it better. That's the nature of being a reviewer. It's unfortunate, it's unfair, it's very unfair to developers, but I can say, I don't like this, and now it's their problem to, well, that sounds egotistical. If I say I don't like something, it's not someone else's problem to make it better. That's not what I mean. What I'm saying is, I can critique something as something that I don't enjoy while still not offering a solution of how to make it better. Those are different things. My job is to critique the experience, not to make the experience, which makes my job easier than the person developing the experience. At the same time, my point with these books are, I don't like the 3 sprawling books on the table. And I'm also not 100% confident that condensing it to 1 book is better. It depends on how they structure the information. It may even be worse, so hold off on like any form of... my point is, I would not hesitate to jump into Tanares just because of these books. They're going to have big storage boxes. I don't personally care about that. I'm always going to use my own storage solutions anyway, because trust me, the things I use to condense stuff, most people would have a heart attack over. Please see my Tanares reboxing video for that. This is the longest weekend review ever. I am so sorry. We have the board city world phase. That is nice. I want that map as opposed to the piece of paper they gave us. Also, does not affect my enjoyment of the game. We have the Wasteland Expedition. That's basically making Tanares, Arena of the Contest compatible with Tanares Adventures. And then a few surprises and an upgrade kit and all that stuff and some shipping news and things like that. Point is, Tanares Adventures will be coming out with more stuff. That is the situation there, which means we move on to the next one. The next one is your Planet Unknown. Planet Unknown is going to have an expansion. That's all we have over here. That's the update. I don't have any pictures over here. I don't see what it is, but they had an expansion at the Gamma Trade Show. I've seen a few pictures on social media, so expect some sort of more content of Planet Unknown. It's a great game. The rest of these news pieces will be quick. I hopefully, please. We have Scram from Bezier Games, a new game about, campland woodland creatures have come back and scattered your campsite, and now you have to go ahead and play it. There's an app apparently in some way. I don't even know what the free scoring app. That's what it is. But over here's the game thingy. I don't even know if we can properly see stuff over here. There we go. There's your, your game board. Scram, I'm going to be spending less time on these things because we're running out of time. We have Call of Duty, the board game. That is going to be a Call of Duty board game coming to you from Arcane Wonders, and this is a fun game. I've played this game. I've enjoyed the game. I have not played it recently. They've gone through some development changes since I played it last, so I'll have to try it out again. But Call of Duty, the board game, will be coming up from Arcane Wonders. Yes, it'll be a large Kickstarter. How large of a Kickstarter? I don't know. That's a good question. Let's take predictions now. We have Far Cry, which busted. Far Cry couldn't even raise 100 grand before folding. We have 6 Siege, ouch, which did a few million. I think Call of Duty, the board game, run well as a campaign. I don't know. It's a hard question. Let's call it 3.78 million. No, it's not going to do that well. 3.12 million. 3.112 million, that's my initial prediction. Could I be totally off? Yes. I have nowhere near enough information to make an accurate judgment call. This is just for funsies. Moving on, we have Celtae. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I have no idea. This is coming to you from, I don't actually know. The publisher is Pythagoras. Don't know what they've done, but the artist is the Micho, and the art looks great. That's what pulled me in here. I saw this on Facebook. The art looked great, looked compelled. No idea if it's good. We'll talk about it later. We have over here, we have Aurum from Pandasaurus Games. They actually have a bunch of games coming out. I believe this is a trick-taking game, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this is the competitive trick-taking game. Very intrigued by this one. I saw this at Gamma briefly. Looked fun, looked interesting. I like trick-taking, at least nowadays. Really enjoying For Northward. Then we have over here, we have the Elden Ring board game studio, otherwise known as Steamforge Games. Steamforge Games is picking up the Ultra Quest game from Blacklist. Now, this is actually really bad timing for me, because I have a review coming for Alter Quest this week. No, do not allow. I have a review coming for Alter Quest this week that, I'll save you some time, is not that positive. I didn't love Alter Quest. I think it could be great. I think it has the bones of a good system, because it's based on the Street Master system, which I did like. I didn't like the manifestation in Alter Quest. Sorry, Steamforged. I apologize. I mean, it's not your game, but I mean, you picked it up now. But anyways, moving on from there, we have CMON EXPO, and a message from Chris George I have to respond to later. We have CMON EXPO. CMON EXPO over here, this is basically CMON EXPO announced that they are coming back to, EXPO. They're coming back to EXPO. They're actually not coming back. They were previously in Atlanta, and now they're moving to Minneapolis, but they are going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, September 15th through 17th, and I sadly will not be there. I sadly will not be there. Those are the exact days of Rosh Hashanah, the one of the high holidays for Judaism, and I will not be able to make this one. As much as I would love to go, next year, come on, next year. Pick a different date next year. But either way, moving on, lastly we have the Dragon's Tomb. The Dragon's Tomb, fantastic channel. If you have not subscribed to the Dragon's Tomb, you absolutely should do so. I mean, should is a relative term, but if you want entertainment and fun things to watch, the Dragon's Tomb. And rather than his usual entertainment-based videos where he gives you a lot of fun things, I need to watch some of these videos. I haven't watched them all. I haven't watched his video on latest videos. Oh my gosh, how old is this? I have to watch a few of his videos. I'm still a little bit behind. I missed in particular the How to Play on Root. But recently he did every board game YouTuber's #1 ranked game. Okay, he did a full video covering all the #1 ranked games of all the board game YouTubers. Every single last one. He didn't miss a single person. And he went over all their #1 games of all time. And yes, I'm in there. A whole bunch of other content creators. If you want to see my #1 game, spoiler alert, it was Terraforming Mars at the end of last year. It's not currently anymore. Feel free to check out that video for a full breakdown of every YouTuber's #1 game. And with that, we can go ahead and stop this and not move into the topic of the week, because we replaced the topic of the week with something else, and next week's topic of the week will be this week's topic of the week instead. I feel like just a drop of chaos. I don't know what it is. Sometimes I'm a little bit lower energy. Sometimes I'm a little higher energy. Today's definitely a higher energy day. But with that, let's go ahead and dive into the rest of the video. Starting off with a 12x12 update. 12x12 update is not, actually it's kind of significant depending how you look at it. My 12x12 update is my goal of playing 144 games this year, more specifically 12 games, 12 times, 144 plays devoted to specific games. And what I've been enjoying doing is doing these full dedicated videos of once a month doing a full breakdown of, we're doing a 12x12 review of the Castle of Burgundy. We're doing a 12x12 review of Seven Wonders Duel. And speaking of Seven Wonders Duel, Seven Wonders Duel is the next game on the list. I have well over 12 plays logged of Seven Wonders Duel in this year alone, in 2023. Played both the base game, played with the expansion, played with both expansions, played online with the expansion, played online with both expansions. I played it at every single viable player count, which is 2 players. That's all. I think I played it with the promos. I have some of the promos, I think. So I played Seven Wonders Duel in every possible configuration, and that means I'm going to go ahead and do a 12x12 review in that one. So, and if you're wondering why it hasn't been mentioned in previous weeks, is I forgot that I was playing that game so much, and so now looking at my logged plays, I was like, oh, I can do a 12x12 review of Seven Wonders Duel, and that closes off my one of my full 12x12s. So expect a 12x12 review of Seven Wonders Duel. Spoiler alert, I still like it very, very much, even after 12 plus plays. I think it's more than 12. I think it's like, I don't know, 17, 18 plays. I don't know exactly. And then lastly, I also got another play of DEI in. So DEI is making another bit of headway, progress, or whatnot, and a play of some Massive Darkness too. So both Massive Darkness and DEI saw another plays. My 12x12 is not 12 specific games. It's like 30 possible games, of which some of them will make it to the end. But either way, that's my 12x12 update, which brings us to the What I Played update. As usual, this is me selecting 3 games from the games I played this past week and talking about those 3 games. I may have talked about some of these already, I don't know, so I apologize if so. But starting off with the Hunter's AD, and I apologize, I need to blow my nose over here. I'm getting over, 1 second, I just came back from Gamma, and while mostly I have COVID right now, I tested positive for COVID. First time testing positive for COVID in, well, since I got it back in early 2019. I am feeling mostly fine, as should be evidenced by my fairly high energy right now, but I definitely have a bit of a scratchy throat and getting over the rest of, like, nose blowing and that kind of situation. But feel fine, totally cool, staying at home, being responsible, all those good things. But with that, let's go ahead and talk about the games I played, starting off with the Hunter's AD. I shouldn't really talk about the Hunter's AD because I'll have a full review. You know what? No, I'm going to change that. Where's my phone? I'm changing which game I talk about because I'll have full first impressions of the Hunters AD coming up this week. Holy, this week. And so there's no need to cover that one. I try not to talk about games that I'm doing full review coverage on. So let's take a look at what we have over here. We have that's going to have a review, that's going to have a review, that's going to have a review. That one I may have talked about last week. I think I talked about last week. Where's my log plays? Okay, go to here. Drafts. Games I played. I have 2 others. I'm just trying to decide what to pick. Okay, we have that. Let's talk about that one. Sea Salt and Pepper. So, Sea Salt and Pepper, that's going to be the one that replaces the Hunters AD. Don't worry. First impressions coming this week if you want to check that out. Sea Salt and Pepper. That's a fun little game, pocket-sized game. I like it. I'm not sold on it yet. The basic idea of Sea Salt and Pepper is you're drawing 2 cards from a deck, and then you're adding those 2 cards to your hand. That's not true, that's a lie. You're adding one of those cards to your hand, you're discarding the other. Or you can take the top card of a discard pile. All these cards have different configurations of what they do, and effectively, you know, maybe you get points for every boat you have. Maybe you get, you know, a bunch of mermaids you score for the colors of your cards, or you can get an instant win. There's all these fun little small things that the cards do, but ultimately it's all about selecting cards and discarding them until you eventually have a certain number of points, at which point you can kind of call the round and push your opponent to see how much they have versus how much you have. I haven't figured out the full strategy on when you call it versus, like, do I automatically call it when I get enough points or not, and you're ultimately trying to achieve enough points across several rounds of play. I enjoy Sea Salt and Pepper, but it does seem a little too vague, abstract, and luck-driven for me to really be leaning heavily into it. It's a fun game system. I don't imagine it sees a full review on the channel. I like it. It's fun. Don't need to play it. Then we have Stone Spine Architects. That's a game I played at Gamma last week. Basically, it's the newest game from Thunderworks Games. The newest game is, I wondered if I was able to say it, but if you go to Thunderworks Game, they have it on their page. They don't have a BGG page, but they have it listed as, like, coming up, so it exists. Stone Spine Architects is a game which you're going to be building out a 4x4 dungeon with a bunch of cards, and all of them have various scoring mechanisms, but part of the interesting part of the game is you're going to start with scoring mechanisms, but you're also going to be bidding or trying to acquire different scoring mechanisms as well. So you might be building out your thing while trying to be mindful of like 4 or 5 different scoring things that are generally in play, while also trying to add scoring things and then build towards those scoring things. An interesting little puzzle. It's one of those many games that have like, hey, score things 15 ways and try to optimize your way through that scoring puzzle. I very much enjoyed it. I need to play it more. I got 1 play of it, and that's it. I need to play it a bunch more. I'm sure I will be. I think I'll be covering it for the crowdfunding campaign. I think there's a crowdfunding campaign. Maybe it's direct to retail. I'm not sure. But that's Stone Spine Architects, the newest game in Thunderworks line. Feels very adjacent to Cartographers in terms of the feel. If you like Cartographers, you'll probably like this, and vice versa. Not a guarantee, but probably. And then lastly, Tapestry. I may have talked about Tapestry last week, and if so, I apologize, but I'm really, really enjoying Tapestry. Like, I've been playing it on BGA. Again, a lot of games I've been playing on BGA. In general, so recently, this past year, I've probably gotten, I don't know, a few hundred BGA plays in. Most of my plays are still in person, but definitely been rounding out those numbers on Board Game Arena. But Tapestry is one I dove into recently just because I had a chance to play it, and then I continued to play it, and I continued to play it, and right now, from all the BGA games I'm in, easily the one that excites me the most when it's like, ooh, it's my turn in this game, is currently Tapestry. I'm really enjoying the interweaving mechanisms of the game, which I always enjoyed Tapestry. Tapestry was never a game I didn't like, but it's a game that I liked while also thinking, hey, I'd rather just play Gone Clever. That's not true anymore. I'd rather play Tapestry. I think it's a game system I'm going to get back, especially because apparently some of the expansions add like a full 5th player track, which I really want to go ahead and experience there. And so, yeah, I enjoy Tapestry. I like it a lot. It's going to be a game that I almost certainly pick up again. There's a bunch of expansions right now. It is really one that, like, the production value is off the charts, but that was never like a driving force. That's like a nice extra once you like a game. But I really, really enjoy what Tapestry does. I really enjoy the interlinking tracks, the variable ways to try to put a little bit more pressure on one track versus the other. It can run long, especially if playing in person. Like, a full game can run you 2 to 3 hours easily, but I really like it. It's been totally, again, expect a review at some point. I don't know if it's going to be like, 3 months from now or a year and a half from now, but I will almost certainly be doing a full review of it. I'll do a 12x12 review. That's a good reason to re-review it anyway, because, like, I've played the original game, I played the first expansion, or one of the expansions, I should say, I think the first expansion, and I played it solo. I played it solo, 2, 3. I've actually played it all play counts. I played it solo, 2, 3, and 4 players. I have played it with the first expansion. I've played it online and in person, so I'm already partially on my way to a 12x12 review. But really, it's been growing on me a lot. The big next step for me is, does it hold up in person, or is it a game that I only like on BGA? I don't know, but that's Tapestry from Stone Maya Games. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the week in review. The week in review starting off with this past Saturday. This past Saturday I reviewed Pan Am from Funko Games. I enjoy Pan Am. It's actually probably one of my more enjoyed Funko Games games. Gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It's very much a lighter game system. Not one I'm looking to play, but one I'm happy to play. Very much enjoyed. That's Pan Am. Then we have Saturday. Late on Saturday we gave Evergreen a review. Evergreen, another 3.5 out of 5. I enjoy Evergreen. Actually, I may have given it a 3. Oh, I hate when that happens. I hate when I can't remember what I rated a game that I just reviewed last week. I'm not sure what I gave it. I'm not sure. That bothers me. Anyways, it was either a 3 or 3.5. But Evergreen from Horrible Guild. I enjoyed Evergreen, but also another one that the overall puzzle of laying out your trees as you try to balance the shadows and also the forest that you're building. And I sense a sneeze coming on. We're going to move past it. Anyways, I like Evergreen, but it's one that I don't feel the need to continue diving into. Very similar to Photosynthesis, I like that as well, but they very much feel like a one-trick pony in terms of the puzzle that they're engaging with, and they don't have as many interweaving parts going on. Then Sunday I had upcoming campaigns for May. This is me going through the upcoming campaigns for May, a bunch of fun things coming up. I also missed a bunch. In fact, let me check the ones. Let me go ahead and tell you the ones that I missed. 1 second. Let's see what we got over here. We got this over here. Let's go over here to my list because I missed a bunch. So here's what we had. We had upcoming campaigns for May, but then we also had, we covered that, we had Assassin's Creed is going to be May 30th, at least as of now. Conquest Princess is going to be on GameFound, another May 30th campaign. Stellar Prince is going to be May 23rd, and then is that all? I think that's all. I think those are the 3 that I missed over there. Stellar Prince is going to be like these wall hangings. It's more of a board game accessories. Assassin's Creed Apocalypse is going to be, that's a fun one. I'm looking forward to playing that one. And then we have Conquest Princess, which is, I really enjoy that one. It's currently over on GameFound. Curious to see how that one's going to go. Give me a second here. Hey, just filming right now. Okay. Then past that, we have, that was Sunday's video. Monday's video is 2 back and not to back, going over the current crowdfunding campaigns. A few that I'm looking at, particularly Guards of Atlantis. I'm almost certainly going to back the new heroes. I probably should not. Do I be responsible or do I not? I shouldn't. It's like $100 for new heroes. For like 10 new heroes. For a game that I don't play enough to need those new heroes. I should not back it. I shouldn't, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to be more responsible. I'm really trying to have more self-control. Given how much I churn through games, I've been trying to really try to... I know I like Guards of Atlantis. It's going to be here for a while. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Moving on, that was Tuesday. Moving on to moving on, that was Monday. That was Monday. Then on Tuesday, I did a review for Guards of Atlantis. Guards of Atlantis, really enjoyed that one. Solid game. Gave it a 4 out of 5. It's a little harder to table, but really, really fun when you do. I like it a lot. Very intricate system. Love the upgrading. Lots of fun. Great game, Guards of Atlantis. Later on Tuesday, we had a review for The Warriors. The Warriors Come Out and Play from Funko Games, the OP. That was okay. Gave it a 3 out of 5. Not amazing. Not terrible. I'm totally fine with it. It's a semi-cooperative sort of push your luck system as you engage in battles against these various enemies, playing cards together. It's not semi-cooperative, it's cooperative. I don't know why I'm calling it semi-cooperative. It's a cooperative game as you basically play cards to take down these various enemy bands by teaming up your sort of deck building-ish kind of, hand building more so, as you take down various rival gangs along the way towards the ultimate final face down. It was fun. It wasn't amazing. Then on Tuesday again, we had a final video for Wishland. Wishland, I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. I really like Wishland, with the caveat that, again, it's just because I play so many games, it takes a lot more for a game to really stick out at me. I like Wishland. It's the kind of game, like right now it's on my, like when I finished playing it, when I finished reviewing it, I put it on my staying around shelf for right now, not cognizant of the fact that it might not stick around. In general, whenever I have a game, unless it's a 4 or above, there's a decent chance it's leaving. But sometimes I want to hold on to a game. Wishland was fun. It is a lighter game, and the main question for me is, am I going to actually pull it out and play it? Because if I pull it out, I'm not playing it out with my game group, I'm playing it out with my family. So the question is, does my family want to play it enough? That's the ultimate question for it. I like it. I enjoy it. It's a little set collection, you know, amusement park themed game. Charming art, charming world. Enough decisions to be meaningful, but not so much that it's going to break into my main game group. So it's a question of who the target audience is for me. But 3.5, a lighter game, very much gateway friendly. Enjoyed that one. We have Wednesday. Wednesday, the first video was Mythic Games, covering the Mythic Games situation. That I've talked about enough today, so there's that. We'll just move on from that. Then we had, later on Wednesday, we had a live Q&A. The usual, not the Q&A, the weekly live show with Devin and Meg. We had a few things. We had, as usual, our games of the week. We also had our topic of the week, which in this case, the topic of the week was cheating in solo and co-op games, you know, for, against, why not, that kind of situation. And then lastly, we had our usual game show. Complete, utter madness and chaos. I recommend it because I find it entertaining. You may or may not. Then lastly on Wednesday, we had an unboxing of Kingdom Builder. This is the Kingdom Builder Empire Edition, unboxing the game, seeing what's in it, being both critical of Queen games and appreciative of the fact that it is a very cool thing to have. I'm very happy I have it, but also some weird design decisions along the way. And that brings us to Thursday. Thursday we had 10 great solo games at every time slot. This is basically a video of me picking out, actually not 10, more than that. It was like 14. I don't remember how many it was. A solo game at each time slot, working our way up from like a 10-minute game all the way up to, you know, weeks and weeks of campaign games, being like, hey, we have a 10-minute game, we have a 15-minute game, we have a 30-minute game, a 45, 60-minute, 2 hours, you know, 7 games, 15 games, 30 games, kind of that kind of system. Just going through a whole bunch of games and giving you the best solo game at each time slot for me, or one of the best at each time slot for me. That was basically what Thursday's video. I recommend it. It's not my 10 best solo games. I will be doing a 10 best solo games at some point. I did one a while ago, and it's been long enough that I want to reapproach and re-examine the subject, especially since some of the ones in the original video are gone. Some are still true, and some I don't consider as much solo games. Like, I put Gloomhaven in that video. I don't know why. I don't know why I put Gloomhaven in my favorite solo games. It's not a game I play solo. It's a game I can play solo and have played solo, but it's a game I enjoy more at 2 players, so I shouldn't put it in my favorite solo games. The reverse is Tanares Adventures is a game that I so far prefer playing solo, so that's a different conversation. Either way, that's Thursday's video, and yes, we'll have another top 10 solo games coming at some point in the future. Which brings us to Friday. Friday we had games leaving the collection for April. A large list of games, many of which I did not care about one way or the other. There's a bunch, just like instinctively from the list. Santa Maria was one that I would love to keep, but I can't keep everything. Cartouche I liked and would love to keep, but can't keep everything. Kapow I really enjoy. There's a bunch of games. Both things are true. I can really enjoy something and also not keep it because I enjoy other things more. Kapow, Santa Maria, and Cartouche are all good examples of games in that video that I actively enjoyed and would happily play again. There's more, I'm sure. I talk about it in the video, but that's games leaving the collection for April. Which brings us to today. Yes, today we have a few things. We have a review for 4 Northwood going up, a solo trick-taking game that I very much enjoy. I shouldn't have told you that. Maybe I enjoyed it, maybe I not, maybe who knows. And then later today, we also have a review for Sabaca. Sabaca going to be a mid to heavy Euro experience, a little bit more mid than heavy, but a drop towards heavy. Solo experience, lots of rondels, lots of actions, very abstract, lots of things. That's Sabaca. I'll have a review for that later today. Which brings us to next week. Next week, there'll be a bunch of big games being covered. I'm going to have a review for Altar Quest. I'm going to have a first impressions for the Hunters. The difference between the two, both those games I've sunk tons of hours into. Not tons, multiple hours into. The difference is the Hunters, the Altar Quest you can kind of play as a one-shot. There is a campaign, but you could play as a one-shot, and to that end, I can call it a review. The Hunters, I mean, that's a large 56-day campaign kind of situation, and I maybe gave it 7 hours, something like that, 7, 8 hours, somewhere in that range. So I'm definitely calling that one a first impressions because I haven't seen everything the world has to offer, but I've also seen enough that I'm happy to talk about it. But that's going to be a first impressions of the Hunters, so you can check that out. And then lastly, we have a what do we have? We have first impressions of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. So 3 big box experiences all being covered. Feel free to check those out. And that brings us to today, the games on the table. The games on the table. We have a few games on the table. We have Ninth Circle. There's going to be an upcoming crowdfunding campaign, which I'm excited to talk about. Actually, I missed that one too. I believe Ninth Circle is going to be an upcoming crowdfunding campaign in May as well. So sorry about that. But that's going to be one. I hope to be playing this one today. We have Dubois. I think it's pronounced Dubois. I could be wrong, but this is a kind of Dixit style game of being able to give clues that answer things but not so clearly. I'm intrigued. The premise of what it was has great artwork, very intrigued, could be a horrible letdown, very intrigued. It's actually from Arcane Wonders as well, I think it's from Arcane Wonders. Is there a label saying Arcane Wonders? There's no labels. Okay, it was. I got it from Arcane Wonders. I don't know who's publishing it, but it doesn't say Arcane Wonders. Oh, there it is, on the side of the box. Arcane Wonders and Hobby World. That's why they've worked with Hobby World before. I remember that. So Arcane Wonders. Then we have Into the God's Grave from Lucky Duck Games, app-driven game. Hope to be diving into this one. Solar Titans. That's going to be a solo and more game of. Well, I don't even know how to best describe it, but upcoming crowdfunding campaign. Hope to be playing that. And got God Tier Fenrir as well. This is the newest God Tier stuff as well. I have to de-shrink it, unbox it, in some way talk about it, whatever. But hope to be playing this. I haven't played God Tier in a bit and would love to get this tabled this week if I'm able to. I don't know if I will. As usual, I usually get 3 to 4 of these tabled every single week. I think Dubois is a safe bet. God Tier is me being ambitious. Solar Titans is probably a safe bet. And then probably one from Into the God's Grave and Ninth Circle. Probably one of them. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I apologize for what is possibly the longest we can review in a while. It's actually not that long. It's long, but it's not the longest. In any case, and as always, I hope you have a good one.